Welcome to Friday Flows. This is where I recap last week's ETF investment flows, kind of give you an idea of what investors are thinking in the market. Over the last 5 days, it's kind of been an interesting mix. As you can see here, SPY, the S&P 500 fund, took in over $4 billion in flows. So typically you would say, okay, investors are risk on, we want to get back into the market. But as you can see, the rest of where their money was going last week was really more toward the bond side, and not only bonds, but short-term treasury bonds. So most definitely a risk-off flow overall. But then, as you can see, not only SPY, but VOO and IVV, two other S&P 500 focused funds. So investors were really kind of all over the place. They wanted to be aggressive and have access to the S&P 500, but then there was also major flows into these shorter term treasury and bonds, and even some muni bonds this week, which is somewhat unique from an overall flow standpoint. On the downside, again, doesn't really match up. A lot of these were flows from short-term bond type funds. Again, some municipal funds there as well. So interesting week. Investors were risk off short-term, but then we're going to get back into short-term as well. And then again, the big number with the SPY. Jump into SPY, kind of show you how that's moved over the last month from a flow standpoint. As you can see, investors clearly don't know what they want to do. And big numbers from day to day of what's coming in and out of the SPY. But over the last week here, you can, again, from day to day, investors really didn't know what they want to do. Huge flows on Monday, fairly flat on Tuesday, negative on Wednesday, and then yesterday we had another big day jump into there. So again, investors, feel like want to be in the S&P, but obviously the markets haven't been rewarding them with the returns on that every single day. Another one that was on the high end, Vanguard's tax-exempt bond, again, a muni favored bond. Over the last month, not a whole lot of flows at all. And then this week and over the past 5 days, some big moves for this fund. Again, investors looking for that interest rate increase, looking to get that yield. And with the inflation numbers, I think some people were trying to get ahead of that and thinking that this area would pop a little bit. Another one along those lines, this was the big loser from the week. Vanguard short-term corporate bond. Again, I'm not so sure why people thought this was where to go. Big move on the day before inflation numbers. So, I think maybe people thought inflation numbers were going to be lower or show a big trend. So they wanted to de-risk and get, take off some of the off risk and go back into equities. But with raising rates short term, I think this is actually the place to be within the bond environment, but investors clearly didn't agree with that yesterday. So this inflows for this week, again, investors seem to be kind of whiplashed of want to be in the market, but then lots of flows into these more short-term, take advantage of raising rate increases. So it's kind of an interesting mix. Investors clearly want some yield. They're going to where the yield is going to change the quickest, but then investors also wanted to be in the market and not miss anything. So I think that's just kind of more of a FOMO movement this week from the equity side, that people feeling like they're going to miss something, but clearly long term, I think for right now anyway, a lot of investors are really looking for that yield for some of these short term that'll take advantage of these interest rate hikes. So that's where we are this week. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.